Hey, peace and great day, y'all. I hope y'all have had an amazingly great day, any Imago Day, which is in the image and likeness of God. That's who you're called and created to be. I'm Victoria I. Phoenix, the founder of Trauma Training University and an ACE escape strategist. ACE stands for Adverse Childhood Experience or Childhood Trauma and Other Social Traumas. Listen, I can remember being around some people and some kind of upper echelon people, and I told the guy his son had graduated high school, and I remember seeing him like put some stuff on Facebook, and then I saw him like a week or two later. And I said, I know you probably still on the high. You know, he was talking about his son, and he said, "Oh no, it's on to the next. It's not that big." But basically, he was saying it's not that big of a deal, which I understand because they're very accomplished. Both of the kids, both of the parents have several degrees, have great paying jobs, great careers. Let me say that. Very well connected in the community, that kind of thing, right? But later on, like about 2 years ago, I realized that we cannot have that same attitude, especially in the community where I'm from, the communities that I serve, high poverty, high trauma, high ACE incidents, because this is it. I can remember years and years ago, a few years ago, where people were trivializing, and people, they do it on Facebook now, and they say, well, we shouldn't be doing all this for preschool and kindergarten graduations. It's not that necessary. It's not that big of a deal. Then if you do it now, then if they graduate from kindergarten and preschool and have a real graduation with the pomp and circumstance music, and they dress up and get the caps, and they do that for fifth grade, then what are they going to have to look to when they're in the 12th grade, right? Well, first of all, that's a long span in between. So even if I wasn't talking about being trauma responsive, as an educator, you should know the reward system, and really how you reward the behavior you want. You got to incentivize things, but especially when you're being trauma responsive. This is why you have to celebrate every first day of school. Some organizations, I remember being a part of some leadership organizations, and on the first day of school, we went to the elementary school, and we stood outside and greeted the kids as they came in. There's some organizations that still do that. So some people, this is how dumb people act and are used by the enemy, and it's just by ignorance and don't even know. They think they're being funny, or they're just trying to be social. They don't have anything better to talk about on social media, and they put these memes and things up like, y'all are over it doing it. Everybody's timeline gonna be flooded with these little kids, greasy face, big head kids, in the next couple weeks. But to be trauma responsive, you have to understand that every first day should be celebrated real big. When the kids graduate from preschool, when they graduate from kindergarten, if you want to do it when they graduate from fifth grade to middle school, you got to celebrate that, because some of these kids come from families where they might be the first people to graduate high school, not college, but high school, because education isn't valued, because people don't have enough incentive to overcome the barriers that they face at home that will keep them from being educated. And so you have to celebrate that child. I wasn't we didn't have to celebrate everything, even though we came from some crazy circumstances. But education was still valued, and we still had the things that we needed by some means necessary. And me, y'all know me, I have the gift of teaching and learning. I love to learn. So, but many kids that we are kids and families, adults, kids, teenagers that we feed and lead now. You better have that kindergarten graduation and celebrate it real big. And I said this too. I was at a kindergarten graduation or an elementary school awards show, and people were only clapping for their child. And guess what? It was so quiet in there. First of all, these are little kids. Encourage every one of them. I made a habit of clapping for every single one of them, right? Some of these kids, though, had nobody to clap for them because nobody was there to support them. And so to be trauma responsive, when we understand now adverse childhood experiences, some kids come from situations that are so dire at home, nobody made it past 8th grade. And you might think, well, in the 21st century, that's unheard of. And no, some kids, even in the city I live in, the city you live in, who live in such impoverished, and I talked about poverty last night, the financial state and the mental state of poverty, that education is not valued. That there's no, they're so stretched, so thin to just meet their basic needs of clothing and shelter and that kind of thing, and having somewhere to sleep. That education on a consistent basis, where they will graduate from somewhere or even complete a year of school, is very unlikely. And so trauma responsive says you need to celebrate them. Don't forget about what people are saying is ignorance, or people are saying you can celebrate too much. That you have to understand that a lot of people making these comments, a lot of people making these policies come from places where they have education, where education is valued. The mom and the dad might both have degrees or at least finish high school. But you can't, when we're being trauma responsive and we're looking at them, that a lot of people, especially in the city and region where I'm from, high poverty, high adverse childhood experiences, high trauma, you better celebrate every kindergarten and preschool graduation. You better celebrate every first day of school for some kids, because that's the only incentive, the only push that they're going to get to finish their year, to start, because they have so much hell going on at home. And so this is why I love what I do, because God will give us insight and then put us in an industry and give other people insight. So there were the days when you say, hey, now this, let me say this, let me give you this caveat. I don't believe in just reward, everybody should get a trophy. That's not this, saying everybody should get a trophy. But you should absolutely reward accomplishments. When a child finishes preschool, have a big celebration. When they graduate from preschool to elementary school, when they go from kindergarten to real school, celebrate it, because some kids, that they're not celebrating it at home. Matter of fact, there's nothing to celebrate at home. There's nobody. The mom and the dad probably are jealous. The sister and brother are jealous because they didn't make it. So we got to be trauma responsive, meaning we're informed about it, but we're going to do something about it. So understand this: if you're a teacher, you're a leader in a church, you have an organization, celebrate these kids at every level. Okay, when it's really necessary. Okay, I'm not saying celebrate mediocrity, but celebrate when they complete, when they finish, when they accomplish something good, because trauma will set up a lot of barriers where kids won't finish, and you can look at the statistics around you and see that that's true. Listen, I love y'all. God loves you more. That's why he is giving me, putting his words in my mouth. Cover me in the shadow of his hand, that he may plant the heavens and lay the foundations of the earth, and say unto Zion, thou art my people. All right. Peace, guys. I love y'all. I'll see y'all soon. Hey, go back and watch last night's live video of playing aces. Okay. Playing aces, about overcoming the trauma of poverty. And I talked about it using something I never do, but using a project that's going on in my church right now, and how the principles related to this project in overcoming poverty were very coincidental. Okay, I love y'all.